Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're just finishing setting up for Link to the Past. I'm going to pipe up my man. How do you pronounce your tag?
WQ.
Just WQ?
Yeah, there's 3 Qs in there or 4. Because there's 3 on the schedule and there's 4 in my name.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I fixed it.
Yeah, there's 4 Qs in there. Okay, sorry.
4 Qs.
WQ is my name.
You need the 4 Qs. Move the mic just a little bit closer, and then we should be solid. Cool. Before we start, we got a couple comments in the chat. I've got a question for WQ. Can you explain what natural gameplay is from RPG?
Natural gameplay? Who's asking this?
RPG Godfather.
Okay, it's actually a system of belief I created that has to do with.
I figured it was a meme, but
no, it's a real system of belief I created. It has to do with what optimal is not determined by what you think is optimal or theoretically optimal, but what's optimal is determined by what's actually happening in reality, because it stems from our beliefs, which create gameplay, which creates results. So if something's happening, it's always a response, a result of a belief. So if you want to change the result, you have to change the belief. You don't assume you can just magically play better. So that's what natural gameplay is.
I don't think I was ready for that answer, but I'm glad I heard it.
Not a lot of people are.
All right.
Did you change your mind?
So
there's still no audio on the left here. Is that going to fix?
For the gameplay, there won't be. Like I said, I just don't have another splitter.
Okay. Is there any way to not wear the headphones and have a microphone?
Yeah, you can put it around your neck. That's why I said you can have the TV up.
Okay. All right. That's better.
Yep. All right.
Also, yeah, if it's too far away, just let me know.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I'll boost you up a little bit. He said, "Thank you, WQ. That was a real eye opener, friend."
I hope people start thinking, change your gameplay.
My mind just expanded.
Hope you guys turn into an alpha gamer like me.
That's the goal, right?
That's the goal. Get better. People get better speedruns.
Cool. So, who all's on your couch right now?
What's up?
Who all's on your couch? Anybody want to introduce themselves?
You guys can introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Walrus Prime. I play Mega Man X, but I got a time in this game. It's not a good time, but I got a time.
I'm a pig that flies. I started running this game and I got into speedrunning, but haven't done runs in years. But I know a bit about this game.
My actual commentator, he had to leave, so.
Oh.
Unfortunate. Barnow, which actually is good to meet him, but.
Oh yeah. All right.
Solo, I'll show it.
That's fine. All right. So just give us a countdown when you're ready, and I'm good to start the timer whenever. It's all on you.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck. Good luck.
So that first text box, you actually want to match, or you want to hold A for it, which I forgot to do, but you actually want to hold A for it. It's the only text box in the game that it can only process with A, and actually will process if you're holding A instead of mashing it. You don't have to actually mash it, which is it's a unique text box, and it's the very first thing in the game. It's kind of funny. Most text boxes you can actually get out with the D-pad and the face buttons, which is what we're going to do here. So this game has extremely tight movement, extremely fine movement. It's pretty much entirely characterized by having fine movement. And so a lot of what's going on is very subtle, and it's almost the same thing every time, but very, very small things change, and it actually is a very, very tight speedrun. For that reason. This game is a very good speedrun. This category is a very good category. It's probably one of the best, or the best speedrun category of the best game of all time. It has extremely good history and a lot of good competition.
Yeah, this is a game that's been around for quite a while, right? And it's been finely tuned over the course of many years.
It has a lot of history.
There's a lot of people that put time into this game, and it's a very popular category.
I think the best way to compare it is Ocarina of Time is arguably the best game of all time. This is the best 2D game of all time. I think it's fair to say.
That's not true at all, actually. This game completely destroys Ocarina.
You're throwing out mad controversial statements there, friend.
Okay, that was almost perfect. So the only reason that was not perfect is because I went a pixel too far left, which loses like 4 frames or 3 frames. So that's how fine the movement is in this game. The other thing about this game is a lot of RNG. Almost every screen has like enemy RNG, and alright. There's a lot of specific frame rules for enemies that will. So there's not only RNG for every enemy, but there's also these frame rules. So when things aggro you and how they aggro you, it varies everywhere. So every run is very different. Sorry, not good. So that boss is notorious for being annoying because there's multiple frame rules going on at the same time. And you almost never get a perfect fight. So escape is actually like really boring because almost nothing happens, and you can't dash. You don't get boots, so there's no boots. You're just walking around, and it's a lot like, okay, I saved 1 frame in the screen. That's great. I lost 5 frames. That's not good, you know. Which it's still a great speedrun. It's still one of the best dungeons in the game.
Yeah, escape may seem a little slow-paced, right? But it's still got a lot of cool technical stuff going on throughout the entire.
That's really good. So that blue guy is one of the examples of frame rules. So he aggroes you on a frame rule that's a global frame rule. So randomly he will. There's another one. So like randomly these guys will hit you, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So there's actually a funny thing. If you have 1 heart in Escape, you actually save about 50 frames at the end of Escape on the text, which is very weird. So it's actually faster to have 1 heart, but because it's a marathon, I'm going to get a heart here. So if you're doing like RTA, you would never, and there's more RNG, you would never get this heart, because this heart, it takes about 30 frames to get it, and then you lose another 50 frames for having 2 hearts. Which is, it's not a good thing, but because it's a marathon, and I don't want to get Sank Heart, so it ends up being faster. That was nice. So one of the classic questions, and one of the things that people almost always get wrong is the difference between slashing enemies and boomeranging them. And they're the same frames to do them normally. When you slash an enemy, it's 3 frames slower, and when you boomerang an enemy, sometimes it's 2 or 4 frames faster. So even though slashing and boomerang is the same frames, boomerang ends up being a lot faster on enemies. So not only do I want to boomerang enemies, but I want to boomerang them very close. Well, so that was Escape. That's not a very good Escape. That's fine. So Escape in this game is pretty light. Usually you want to just get through it. Don't lose like major time. And then we go on to the second worst dungeon of the game, which is the Eastern. Which again, why is Eastern so bad? Well, there's no boots. So if you do skip Sangar here, it's very risky because the Octoroks do a whole heart. So if I get hit by an Octorok, there's an extremely high chance I die. So it's going to be really important for me to not get hit by any Octoroks or blue guards. Now again, the movement in this game is so tight and so like optimized that everything I'm doing, all the movement is like highly scripted. It's too complex to go into right now. But not only is it doing exactly the same movement everywhere, really helpful, but okay, so I got lucky there. So no Octoroks walked into me, which is nice. So the blue guards do 1 heart, but like it doesn't really matter. Or they do have a heart, but whatever. So if you notice, I'm like mashing my D-pad, and I'm kind of walking in a staggered manner. That's one of these like scripted movement patterns. And it makes walking up these staircases a lot faster. I think this is one of the worst screens in the game.
Such a simple screen. What's so bad about it?
Pumping left is really hard. So you have to pump left and around the Popus. That's just annoying. That's good. That hard is really convenient. This is another screen I absolutely hate. Damn. So that's a time loss. I boomerang that magic. It's actually faster to boomerang it, so we got the magic.
Yeah, the reason that's faster is because when you finish a dungeon, it's got to fill your whole magic bar up, right? So having some filled already speeds that process up.
Which, in my opinion, you're gonna make mistakes in a speedrun. I think the best thing to do is just move on and optimize it. So even though this run's not very good so far, it's still pretty good. Bird's BK boost is really good.
Whenever you're ready, I have a donation to read for you.
These skeletons always aggro you. It's like really annoying.
Our runner's not wearing the headset, so he can't hear me. So I'll read it to chat, and then I'll read it to him afterwards. Hey WQ, just wanted to let you know you are the representation of the Northwest to the fullest. Pushing it to the max, rolling deep. This was a 420 donation by RPG Godfather. Thank you for your donation.
Thanks, dude.
This fight's kind of cool. You notice we got the quick kill there. Normally the last Armos Knight is going to turn red and it fills his health up to 3 arrow shots. But if you kill him immediately after killing the other one, you can skip that state and save some time.
So I actually, I got really lucky there because I shot 4 arrows at the first cycle and you want to shoot 5 and I shot 4. So that's why I shot an extra arrow at the end to make sure I got the quick kill. Eastern and Escape are probably my worst splits in the whole game. We can just, thank God they're over.
So here we got the Pegasus boots, which you'll see used almost throughout the rest of the run for any long segments of movement. On top of this glitch, I can't exactly remember the inputs for how it's performed, but if you cancel the Pegasus boots speed as soon as you enter a staircase or a ladder, you'll keep the movement when you exit. I believe that's how it works. I think there might be another part to it, but I can't 100% remember. Although you'll see that as well used a lot throughout the run.
So the thing of dashing is it's all frame perfect. You dash 4 pixels per frame, and you lose a lot of frames if you don't get a perfect dash. So pretty much every dash in the game is frame perfect, which is annoying. but it makes it interesting.
We have a $25 donation from a dear friend of mine named Rachel. She didn't leave a comment, but thank you, Rachel.
Nice. So I got a fence dash, or I got a bush dash here, which is very rare. It's interesting too because you can slide on this diagonal right there, which saves like 1 frame. Pretty good. Nice. So if you, and there's no lag, so if you don't, that's a 1 frame dash right there that allows you to not dash in the water, and if you get lucky you don't get lag, so it saves a ton of time. All these dashes, there's one precise pixel you want to hit. It's not much slower if you get it, we're talking frames, but those frames really add up. And they're exactly what you're fighting for. To get a very good time in this game, you need very good dashes, you need good movement everywhere, and you have to be very like mentally sturdy. Because there's a lot of stupid crap that happens, and keep going is the most important part. I actually really like this next room because it's so tight to get past that eyeball, but it's pretty scripted. So another really important speed mechanic is starting a dash early and transitioning between dashes, which is also really annoying, and it's just one of these like tight mechanics. And also doors in this game are extremely important. Nice. That was a very good dash stop. So, Super Mario World is not the only game that has annoying doors. This game actually has a lot of really complex door mechanics, which I made a guide on my YouTube channel about specifically how to move in and out of doors, and it's 40 minutes long, so. To grab that first pot, you have to go down 2 pixels, which is annoying. Because 1 pixel is nice, but sometimes you go down 1 pixel and then you miss it. Another interesting thing here is you actually don't want to dash immediately after that chest. You want to walk to the stairs and then dash. Because when you dash into a staircase, it resets your movement. But if you dash off a staircase, your movement starts with the dash. So it's actually a lot faster, which is really cool. Nice. So that's something specific I do there. Everybody does that strat, but I do the movement a little bit different, and it saves like 5 frames if you do it right. But it's kind of hard. Nice. So picking up pots is another very important thing about this game, and you'll see me pick up a lot of pots. Nice. Nice.
Here's a question from RPG Godfather. Chest turns save a frame. Why is he not using them?
They actually don't save any frames. They actually lose time because in real time. So my big thing about this game is that task movement is completely irrelevant. It's all about real-time movement, and the only way to find real-time movement is to do runs and look at runs. So chest turns actually lose time.
This is Land Molus. This fight always gave me a bunch of trouble.
Okay, that's alright. Basically, you want a 2 cycle, or a 3 cycle, or an early 3. Late 3 is really bad, but it's acceptable. 4 and up is like really bad. That was a 3, so whatever. It's pretty average. I'm probably like +8 at my PB right now, which is actually really bad if I'm trying to PB, but unfortunately I'm not trying to PB. So, this run's decent. That was a very good desert.
Do you want to talk about the category at all? It's
Yeah, you're gonna see a non-major glitch here. It looks like a major glitch, but it's actually not. It saves probably 8 seconds, so that's why it's not a major glitch. But yeah, basically I tricked the game into thinking I flippers. And I'm gonna do some really cool movement to do it. Okay, good. Nice. Okay, good. So if that Zora hits you, you soft lock, which is a major glitch. So fortunately, I didn't soft lock. But yeah, so that bush is actually really interesting because this game's on a grid, and so if you slash and then you immediately let go of the sword, so if you walk with the sword for 0 frames, you actually don't line up with the edge of the screen. You have to jump on the edge of the screen, and that's why you slash the bush. And so you have to hold your sword out for at least 1 frame, and if you actually hold your sword out to the next tile, so if you hold your sword out for a whole tile, you actually also won't line up with the screen. And it's because this whole game's on a grid. And so a lot of the movement in this game, that's why it's so scripted. It's because of this grid it's on, which we would get to hear Barnow talk about Tezuka, because Barnow loves Tezuka and he loves this game, and how Tezuka designed this game and a lot of the SNES games to be on this grid. And unfortunately, we won't get to hear that. But so that boulder can't hit you. It's happened I think 2 or 3 times to me ever. It's very, very, very rare. Nice, that's really good. Nice. Okay, that's really good. Really good at Death Mountain. Nice. And so these warps actually, they're quicker if you enter them from specific pixel groups. So that's why you would enter the warp from the right side, which it's like half a second quicker, which is pretty significant. So every warp in the game you enter very specifically. It's very silly to a viewer if you don't play this game a lot. Probably like, what's going on? What's this guy doing? Nice. Ooh, look at that. Yeah. No big deal for me, of course. Yeah, so there's another glitch. It's a really minor glitch. It's this 1.0 glitch. So you play on a Japanese 1.0 cart. There's all these unique glitches on it, and on every single run of this game ever, you hear the same exact commentary where everyone says there's all these glitches. Well, I'll do it too. So yeah, if you can dash with items on the same frame. It's a 1-frame trick, obviously, same frame, not too hard. And you see it with a lot of the items, even like the medallions. You can even dash with like the net and stuff. That's pretty cool. Alright, there's another frame per gas, which is like really good to get those.
We have a $15 donation from Scrivo. Good luck on the run, WQ. Here's some money to a great cause. Thank you, Scrivo, for your $15 donation.
Nice. Okay, good. Am I too quiet? Thanks. Ooh, I'm fucking good, dude. So this bomb jump strat, I actually made that. That's actually a frame perfect window, so even if I dash first frame, it looks like I'm gonna fall there, but as long as you're in the bonk animation, you won't fall, and that dash setup I do is actually, it works exactly like that, so you almost always get a perfect, that bonk, because you want the bomb to blow up right when you land, right before you land, and so that setup I do, well, it's perfect.
The Legend of Zelda, a perfect frame to the past.
Okay, good. Moldorm is really annoying. He often knocks you down for no reason. You can dash in him in the middle of the screen and he'll knock you all the way to the edge. It's really frustrating. So, actually, that spin thing I do. So back in like 2013 and 14, people thought that spin thing saves the frame. It doesn't. Although it might save a frame sometimes. No one's looked into it, so whatever. I just do it for fun.
Even casually, that fight's a pain.
Nice, that's good. Nice, really good. Honestly, this run has really picked up after Eastern. Nice. That was like the top pixel, like you dashed above the hole. Nice. So I have 7 rupees. You want 24 here, so I'm gonna get all 4 of these. Which is not that much slower, even though it looks really bad. So a runner named Darkmind Demon, he actually he shoots that arrow past the tree on the far left right there, which I only recently learned this. So according to him, we'll have to give credit for getting that pickle. That's actually really important because you want 7 arrows. So if I missed that pickle with an arrow, then I would have needed to change a little. So I actually saved time for that. So I'm doing something called tree rupees, which is actually very tight. That green guard you saw spawn, if that guy hits me, the rupee root, I lose the rupee root. Which loses like 8 to 10 seconds, and that's pretty big. So this game is extremely tight since it's so optimized. Usually if you mess something up, you only lose like a few seconds, but it's like almost everywhere, and so it really adds up. So even with the bad Escape Eastern I got, if I play clean, I'll get a very good run. And I've been playing very clean for the past 3 dungeons. Yep. Okay, see there you go. I messed up the rupee route, which is exactly what I was avoiding. But so I'm gonna get blue rupees here, or I get green rupees. That's fine. I need to kill another 4 enemies. There's 1. So this green guard that went to the right, that's my 3rd enemy. And then the 4th enemy I kill in about 2 seconds. Or 3 seconds. So losing getting hit by the guy is really bad because you want sword beams for Agate Tower. So I probably lost like 10 to 12 seconds on that, which is considerable. I have to do a very silly strat in this room, which I don't like doing, but. And so basically, I really don't want to ferry here. Okay, good. Actually, the heart is really good too. Now it's beams, so it worked out. Nice, that's the first ring dash. That's fine. So the bats don't do like full heart; they do a quarter heart. So if you get hit by that bat, like whatever. The last 4 screens in this dungeon are really, really important. So if I get good RNG, they'll go really smoothly. If I don't, it's not going to look too good. We'll find out what happens. Yeah, well, there you go. Good. So we're about to get to the worst fight in the game, and honestly, one of the worst fights in just all of speedrunning. This fight is literally just flat RNG. There's nothing you can do about it, and the time you lose on a bad fight it's too much. So if you're trying to like get a PB, 70% of your runs die in this fight, and that's really annoying. So like there's this cutoff like between 2 and 3 blue balls. If you get 1 extra blue ball, you lose another 12 seconds, and you lose 6 for the blue ball. So the whole thing is just like, it's very frustrating to get 3 blue balls, like 12 runs in a row, and then you can't PB on any of those runs. So probably gonna get destroyed by this guy, but I got 2 blue balls in my practice run earlier. Okay, that's a good start. This run, unfortunately, is not very good. If I get 0 blue balls, it'll make it a good run, which is the effect of 0 blue balls. If I get bad blue balls, it'll still be okay. Okay, that's really good. So that's 0 phase 1. So I have a 50% chance of getting 0 blue balls, which is like very, very good. But I can almost guarantee you it's going to be 1 blue ball. Yeah, there you go. It's actually a very good chance it's 3 blue balls because this game hates fun. But, yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, that happens all the time, even though it looks bad.
Dude, that was brutal.
It actually happens all the time.
Just gets your hopes up like that and then shatters them immediately.
There is no Aghanim fight where I trust this guy. That's fine. 3 blue balls is actually average. It's 25 seconds off 0 blue balls, which is completely unrecoverable, which is why it matters so much. But unfortunately, with the nature of this game, you have to just take what you get.
So the Dark World, would you say the difficulty spikes up considerably in the Dark World?
Yeah, I think it does. At the same time, it's more straightforward for the first part, so it's more consistent. But it's definitely a little more like gameplay intensive. The enemies do more damage. The bosses well, they can kill you. They're actually like Landmo and Moldorm are very difficult bosses, so. It's not like they're harder, but it definitely spikes up. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Nice. Nice. That's a pretty good overworld. I think I made 1 error at the start, but most of these overworlds literally come down to like how many frame perfect dashes you can get, and then do you make 1 error or not. If you make 1 or 2 errors, it's suddenly not a very good overworld. But if you get a lot of good dashes, then suddenly you can like save half a second, which is really good. This guy is my favorite jelly in the whole game. No, I'm kidding. I don't like that guy. There's a really, really important trick coming up, so I can't explain it, but It's 1 pixel. So unfortunately, I didn't get either pixel, and then I also I got the fairy, so I actually lost a lot of time on that trick, which is an unfortunate part about speedrunning this game because getting a good light roll is very important and it's very rare. And then suddenly, when you do get a good light roll, you have to do that, and then Helmasaur and Turtle Room. So getting a good run in this game is extremely rare. It's probably like 1 in every, I don't know, 20 to 50 runs you actually get a good light roll, or you get a run past pod. Uh-oh. This is bad. So yeah, there's things you can do about that guy, but I just play it safe. Nice. That's really good.
Yeah,
that was
like a really clean fight.
It actually wasn't a perfect fight, but it's basically perfect. I got the perfect RNG. I got hit by him. That loses about 20 frames, but if you get hit by him, you can actually walk back into him with the damage frames and then hammer him. Which, if you miss that hammer, you basically die. So it's kind of risky, but it's not that risky. And it saves so much time. You have to do it. I think if you guys want to do commentary, feel free, because I'm going to stop talking so much.
We'll do our best.
Yeah, I'm not super knowledgeable, but I know a thing or two.
I've played this game like 10 times, never once for speed though.
So I guess the next thing we could talk about is the route a little bit. The intended route, at least if you open up the map, the crystals are numbered now, and they show up on your map. And the next intended dungeon is Swamp Palace, but we're going to bypass that, and we're going to go to Thieves Town, which gives us the Titan's Mitts, that's the upgraded power glove, and allows us access to the tempered sword after that, which then we can utilize extra damage for the rest of the game. And that'll be the last sword upgrade we get.
After Thieves Palace, what's the good order of the dungeons gonna be?
It's Thieves, Skullwoods, Ice, Swamp, Mire, Turtle Rock.
We have a question for you, WQ. This liquid gameplay is crystal clear, but is it also edible gameplay? It's a $4.20 donation by Joseph Thomas. Thank you for your donation, Joseph.
Is this gameplay gluten-free?
Basically, you just have to try your best. That's
it vegan friendly?
those quick warps that you were talking about earlier also apply when mirroring, right?
Yeah. So that's why I menued with the mirror. It's specific. So this screen's actually really interesting because if you do that screen perfectly, you always get hit by the green guard. So you have to intentionally slow yourself down.
Alright, coming up here, we picked up the flute and we're going to play it at this water vein, and we get our magical duck bird thing. It's basically our fast travel device for the rest of the run. Comes in pretty handy, I guess.
Giving us a legitimate way to teleport instead of the non-legitimate ways. In addition to, rather.
Sorry. You. Not us. The royal we, I guess.
Nice.
Gives the boy, gives the legend.
Nice.
Yeah, good luck. Never lucky.
That skull is really annoying. Nice. That's also not intended. So occasionally you can not get hit by that guy, but you kind of just have to get lucky.
We have a question dedicated towards Walrus. What do you do if the bird gets in the way?
You toss him.
Every single dungeon has one iconic room for the speedrun, and this dungeon's room is Hellway, so every single one of those rooms you can lose significant time in. Darn. So that was okay. Basically, Hellway is a really, really terrible room, so.
Yeah, basically you have to get a perfect dash.
Which I did get.
Line up on the perfect pixel, and then you have to get lucky with the, what do they call them, Patrick Stars, as well as the anti-fairies.
Yeah,
the anti-fairies.
Basically, if you get through it, you're good. I have 4 hearts, so, well, it was good enough. Oh, that's really nice. That's really bad because you can easily die at 2 hearts in the dungeon. It's really hard to die in this dungeon, but if you have 2 hearts, suddenly the difficulty like spikes up extraordinarily. Good.
Yeah, so like we said, the dungeon order that you see on the map is generally a recommended guide.
Nice,
as you can tell from being in Dungeon 5 second, we can access most of the dungeons out of order. I think the 1 to 8 is generally a difficulty guide, going 1 through 8 in order. Closer? Sorry, I've been told to put the mic closer.
So I'm actually going to do something here that normally people don't do. Just get a heart.
So yeah, Thieves Town is number 5 out of 8. The dungeon itself isn't super difficult, but when you get to the final boss, and like WQ said, with 2 hearts or less, this dungeon gets very difficult. But especially on the final boss, who deals 2 hearts per attack, it can become very difficult, especially with all the projectiles flying around the map.
Well, the fight is scripted. If you follow the script perfectly, it shouldn't be a problem. But it's very easy to get off script, and if you off script, it becomes a very dangerous fight. So hopefully WQ puts the sword to blind here. Good fight, good fight. So coming up next, we're gonna go pick up our buddy, the dwarf frog, and get our sword tempered. And then we're heading up to Skullwoods. Skullwoods is a pretty cool dungeon, in my opinion. The concept is pretty neat, and then there are a bunch of different entrances and different ways to sort of go through the dungeon and get yourself stuck or lost or whatever. Obviously, in the speed run, we know the way through, and that's not an issue. But I think the concept is pretty neat.
It and the Desert Palace from earlier in the game are kind of the only dungeons in the Zelda series where you continually like leave and exit them. You know what I mean? Like the earlier one, less so much on the continually part. But the only other thing I can think of is like the Spirit Temple and like Ocarina, a couple other ones where you're entering and exiting though. I always find it interesting when they mess with the different dungeon templates and formulas like that.
Yeah, the biggest gimmick with those two dungeons in this game is that there's multiple different parts to them, so you need to leave and enter different spots to access different parts of the dungeon. Whereas Spirit Temple is all one unit. For example, Desert Palace is 2, and the one upcoming is 3 different parts.
Yeah, so in Skullwoods, if you die in the overworld, so dying in the overworld is actually banned in this category, which is silly. But it's because there's places you can die in the overworld that actually are faster, so they banned it. So if you die in the overworld in Skullwoods, you go back to the pyramid. So it does happen, which is very funny.
I didn't know that.
You lose a lot of time for that though, so obviously no one cares.
So that's one of the cases where dying literally is a run killer.
I'm so upset.
Nice.
Yo, fence dash.
Oh, we got that.
Nice. Oh yeah, I guess we could mention the rupees. We're picking up a bunch of rupees here because flippers are very expensive. So, but conveniently placed are 2 300 rupee chests.
So the one thing that's been going really good this run, my dashes are all like really good, which is usually the hard part. Unfortunately, everything else is not going well. I care more about the dashes than anything else, so I'll take it.
Also, the Skullwoods music is a banger. Just wanted to mention that.
God, that room is hell, and that was the worst. That's the worst RNG you can get. I handled it really well though.
Wow, nice mini Moldorms.
That's not good at all. Although it's not the worst thing in the world.
This Mummy Hellway is a pretty neat room. I've practiced some of the faster strats. Looks like WQ, of course, going for the best strats, but that can get out of hand pretty quickly, but it's a pretty cool room when executed properly. Coming up, we got Mothula. Pretty interesting fight. There's a mechanic where if you hit Mothula into the spikes that surround the arena here, it actually doesn't do any damage. So you want to, I mean, it's not all entirely up to you. That was a very fast fight.
That was actually a 3-hit, so I messed up. There's this mechanic. You want to dash into the moth on a specific. It's a specific timing window and a specific like pixel variation or whatever. So it's very hard to get. I didn't get it, but I got kind of lucky, so it worked out.
Yeah, ideally, it's a double hit with a dash to start and then 2 slashes, right?
Yeah, I lost like 2.5 on a perfect fight, which is really good still. Like, it's completely fine.
Yeah, I'd take that fight every time.
So next up is probably the worst split in the game. Everyone hates it. Casually, you hate it. It's actually pretty consistent, and it's pretty fun. So this split easily has the most variation. If you make mistakes, you get punished the hardest. And Cold Stare, if you die in him, you lose about 4 minutes. So it's definitely a pivot point in the run.
Yeah. So up next is Ice Palace, but first we gotta go get ourselves some flippers to get access. I guess you could fake flipper there technically, but you need the flippers anyways for Swamp, so we're going to get them now.
And you saw him play the ocarina and then dash to the left side of the screen. That saves a handful of frames from getting picked up by the bird if you dash into it. So every time he plays the ocarina,
nice
he
block.
will do that.
Okay, so this is called the lottery, and basically, we're gonna hope I don't soft lock here. Okay, good. So I grabbed that rock from the right side, actually, which it looks slower because you're walking slower with the rock longer. It's actually faster for some strange reason. And it's easier too. So if you're looking for natural gameplay, well, there you go.
There it is, right there.
When you put it that way, actually, that makes sense.
So now that we're coming up onto the flippers, I want to talk about a glitch that we saw a bit earlier, which was him swimming without the flippers. So essentially how that works is when you load a new zone in the map, the game doesn't check to see if Link is in water, like it does if you jump in the water. It automatically keeps Link where he was when he entered a new area. So if you enter the water a frame before you enter a new zone, it'll keep Link placed in the water, and since there's nowhere, first off, since the game doesn't check to make sure Link is on land, it won't place him out of the water, and second off, because there's nowhere on land for Link to be placed, even if it did, Link would stay.
Sorry.
Link would stay in the water regardless.
Yeah, so that dash I actually was the highest frame or highest pixel, which is if you do that low, that's a time loss. That's like a 5-second time loss. So we're gonna have to eat that one. So that's really nice. That arrow saves a second. So in a run of many mistakes, we 2 things have gone right.
So Ice Palace is a dungeon that is intended to be much longer than it's going to be in this speedrun. The intended route requires a lot of backtracking and puzzle solving and things of that nature, but WQ is going to utilize one bomb jump to essentially break that puzzle and allow access to the end immediately.
Nice. That bomb's really nice too. Nice, perfect.
That's the bomb jump. Normally, you know, the red pegs would have to be down and then you have to come around and hit some other switches, but since we didn't have to hit the switch, we now can just proceed to the end of the dungeon, fight Cold Stare.
That's really fast. My strat there, actually, I slash down, so if you have sword beams, it doesn't knock the left penguin. This is convenient. So Cold Stare is a very difficult boss, and a lot of people think he's much easier than he actually is, and really no matter how good you get at this game, if you're nervous, your skill level is going to be tested. So I hope I get him, but
you got
sometimes
this.
you gotta
No
pray.
problem. No problem. That was a very nice fight. Cold Stare is a very dangerous boss because the dungeon item in Ice Palace is the blue mail, which reduces your damage taken. But obviously we skipped that, and so the damage sort of amps up a little bit here. I think the puffs do 4 full hearts of damage, and the ice drops from the ceiling do 2 hearts as well. So coming into the dungeon with what, 6, 7 hearts?
9.
9 hearts.
But the problem is, the Cold Stare has like a ridiculous amount of HP also. So if you mess that fight up, it's like a 30-second fight, and it's like really, it's like playing. What's that one game? The anime game. You're like running away from bullets.
If you beef the fight, the puffs could separate. It becomes a much more chaotic fight with ice also falling from the ceiling.
It's called Toho. Yeah, it's called Toho. It's Ice Palace.
Yeah, and then if you die to Cold Stare, there's no sort of shortcut to the end of the dungeon. You have to do the entire dungeon over again, so it's a major time loss. But that was a very good fight.
That's a first way mirror. Or no, wait, that's the first way menu after the mirror, which is trivial. But I mean, saves a few frames. So actually killing that that Octorok, not when you warp, saves a bunch of time. If you kill him as you warp, it actually loses a bunch of frames, like lag frames.
So up next is Swamp Palace now. Intended second dungeon of the Dark World. But after our detour, we've amped up our abilities a little bit. So it's sort of, we have increased damage. Normally we wouldn't have the tempered sword here. But the dungeon is fairly straightforward, but has a lot of small RNG that can cost you lots of time over the course of the whole dungeon. In the enemy movements in basically every room can cost you frames or seconds.
Yeah, well, there's a few seconds. So going into this dungeon, it's not that bad to lose a heart because what happens is you actually don't have beams. Sometimes sword beams will destroy the enemy before your sword does the damage, and it's kind of annoying. So I lost a heart in the overworld, but it actually rewarded me in that second screen because I was able to just flash them and kill them. This is actually a weird. This is found recently. By recently, I mean this year. So if you kill that red skeleton, this cutscene is quicker by like 10 frames or something. Which is, you know, there's nothing you can do about that, but it's pretty cool. Oh, that's nice. So this is another thing that's found. You actually want to kill that blue skeleton. Sometimes you don't kill him on a frame roll, which has happened. And if you kill him, then that looks slower to kill him, but it's actually faster because it saves lag frames in this next cutscene. So what I did right there was really slow because I had to slash him, but it comes out about even and it's easier. So this cutscene right here is it's about half a second bigger. Good dashes, very good dashes. That's the unfortunate part about this game. So yeah, the reason I killed that guy is so on that dash he's not like hanging out next to me.
Hook shot was always my favorite weapon as a kid.
Yeah, same. That's extremely rare.
So WQ, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
RPG Godfather brought up the idea to have a donation incentive for you to flex at the end of your run. What would you like this incentive to be? Or how much, I should say.
Why asking me? I'm trying to do the right.
Because you'll be the one flexing.
He seems impartial.
You say 2,300?
Is that low? That sounds kind of low.
That's essentially $80 more.
I'm rolling a big pocketbook here.
$80 more.
Nah, dude, make it 180.
180? All right. You hear that, folks? If we can get 180 more, WQ will flex at the end of his run. And you have 20 minutes to do this, by the way.
It better be good for that.
So if you're trying to get like a really good time in this game, the important screen in this dungeon is this fight. Okay, I failed it. Yeah, you can kill this puff before he goes up. It stays about 5 to 6 seconds, which is it's very, very important to get this and a good run. So I'm looking at my timer. I'm actually on pace for 124 still. I think nothing has gone right this run except Cold Stare and Helmosaur. But I'm actually still on pace for 124, which is good. That's my goal.
All the lore.
Yeah, I think this is the longest crystal cutscene in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually kind of relaxing after Ice Palace, honestly.
When you spend 80% of the run, you know, being like frame perfect, it's kind of nice to have those moments where, you know, you just kind of have to. The game forces you to take a moment to yourself.
Meyer is like my least favorite split, so it's really yeah,
Oh, he snuck by, dude. Nice. Was Those dead rocks are always a pain for me, anyway. I don't
Usually
know.
people panic when that happens to them, but there's a few tricky ways to get around it, which because this game is on a grid, and when you dash on a slope, it's not on a grid suddenly, so very weird things happen to your movement speed, which is why you can sometimes dash past those guys. Nice.
So I guess next is Meyer, right? This is a little trip to do some gathering. I think this is the last sort of overworld adventure to do item collection for the required items. This is Ice Rod he's getting now, required for Trinex in the Turtle Rock dungeon. And what we just picked up before was the Ether Tablet, which allows access to Misery Mire itself. So now WQ is off to Misery Mire, one of the, I think, the cooler dungeons in the game.
So the important screen of this dungeon is the second screen. It's called Mire 2, which is highly creative. No other reason than being the second screen of the dungeon. But it's actually a very important screen, and it's kind of hard. So. The rest of the dungeon is probably the most consistent out of the whole game, which it's interesting. The overworld's very difficult. Mire 2 is very difficult, and then it's a long, easy dungeon, so it's like, I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, Mire 2 is a pretty cool room. I know I spent a lot of time practicing it just because it's a lot of fun to do when you do it right. It's very fast.
Okay.
You missed it there, but the idea is to one cycle those Wizrobes before they can fade out again. I'm not sure exactly what went wrong, but it's still a cool room.
That's actually not faster, but it looks really cool.
Here we got a minor glitch, I guess it is, where you can shoot the fire rod through these blocks as they're moving, just because for whatever reason they don't register as.
I'm on like 124.58 pace, which I'm gonna have to play very good for that. So there goes nothing.
The dungeon item here, the Canis Samaria, is a pretty cool weapon. I never realized its true potential as a casual kid, but in the speedrun you get to show it off in some pretty cool ways that we'll see later in the run. Oh, here's one small thing, I guess. The bomb count. Ideally here, it worked out for WQ. He had exactly one bomb left coming into that room, and that saves one menu because by using your last bomb, it automatically swaps to the fire rod, which you then use to hit the switch. Kind of convenient. And the bomb routing and arrow routing in this game is very specific to sort of optimize the chances to do stuff like that. This is Vitreous. This is a fight that I think is pretty cool. The eyeballs do a lot of damage. I'm not sure how much, but it's a lot. But the goo on the ground only does, I believe, 1 heart of damage. So you walk on the goo, take the damage, and then use your spin to hit the eyes. And then it's 8 arrows to take out the final.
That was actually really good.
Yeah, that was very nice. So that's crystal number 6. We got one more crystal left. That's up in Turtle Rock. And then off to Ganon's Tower, which is a very tough but very cool dungeon to watch.
Yeah, so Endgame definitely makes this run. T-Rock, G-Tower, and Ganon, they're very hard. A lot of movement, a lot of variability, a lot of interesting differences, and definitely like the highlight of the run. So hopefully it goes well. If it doesn't, it just happens all the time, unfortunately. You run it significantly worse, much like Aghanim.
Yeah, and especially in Ganon's Tower, there's a lot of fast-paced and a lot of intricacies, fast-paced action and intricacies going on that make it very fun to watch as a viewer even, compared to the rest of the run, which in general, especially in the Dark World, is a very fun run to watch, but Ganon's Tower kind of elevates that completely.
Another thing about this T-Rock is that there was no more squirrels after T-Rock. These squirrels are the worst thing in this game. It's like Aghanim, the squirrels, and then, oh, I don't know. That's pretty much the tier list. The tier list of things that people don't like. So if that squirrel had gone up, I would have got blocked, which is why I stopped. Nice. Got the quick orb. So that's a very difficult quick orb to get. Okay, that's good. That's actually the lowest pixel you can get to trigger this cutscene. And if you item dash on this, actually you get super speed. So I'm going to move really fast if I got the item dash, which is pretty subtle. Yeah, so I didn't get it.
We have a $25 donation from God with a Wavebird saying, WQ is the greatest speedrunner of all time, yet he's only at 0.001%. Thank you for your $25 donation.
What's going on with my friends underestimating me? If you miss the hook shot, which a lot of people, it's a 3-second time loss, which is like, oh my god. Absurd.
So Turtle Rock is another pretty dangerous dungeon, at least casually, or for me as a bad speedrunner of this game. There are a lot of enemies that do a lot of hearts damage, up to 4 hearts, I believe, the pokies, the chain chomps, those rollers that he just deboosted off of. So your health is kind of at a premium in this stage. If you make a few mistakes, it can end very quickly.
So actually, I don't need that magic. Woo, that was extremely tight.
That's a pretty dangerous room with those chain
If I got
chomps.
hit by that guy, this run would have been very much worse. Because I don't get a fairy. So that magic, I don't need that magic, but getting that magic makes this dungeon a lot more straightforward. So I just went for it. Usually you get a fairy here. I didn't get a fairy because I messed up the ruby route. So if you don't mess up the ruby route, you almost always get a fairy. You get more hearts. It becomes a lot more straightforward, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, there's actually a setup way back in Aghanim's Tower to manipulate a fairy drop at some point during this dungeon. But that fairy was actually dropped, I think, during the bomb jump in Darkness, right? I think
I got the fairy in the bomb jump, which it like walked into me, which is actually pretty rare in itself. Almost always it like runs away from you. This screen right here, that interaction is like, it's actually really difficult, even though it looks so trivial. Almost every player loses time on it. So I can actually skip this roller because of that RNG, which saves like 45 frames. If you have, you can actually dash into that roller and then key dash off the bottom rail, which I found that like a week ago. It saves another like 15 frames, although it's kind of hard and risky. So the last part of T-Rock's kind of hard, so you have to do laser skip, and then you have to do a very, very, very important item dash. And then Trinex. Trinex is pretty straightforward, but one mistake on any of this, and it's like 5-second error per mistake. And in a run where 15 seconds will kill your run, 5 seconds is a huge deal.
Wow, very nice.
And you got the dash out, which saves like 10 frames.
So coming up, Trinex, the only instance of using the ice rod in the whole run. We have to go all the way out of our way to get the ice rod just to fight this guy. But the idea is you got to freeze his head or burn the other one. Slash it 5 times. You want to make sure that you swap to the other rod before you finish off one of the heads because you can't menu during the explosion. And then once both the heads are eliminated, the third head comes out. Hopefully, I think you get a double spin and 1 slash to finish him off. The head of this third is vulnerable immediately after exiting the body, but shortly after the head is not the weak point. It's actually a glowing mid-section.
Yeah, so something interesting I found about this fight, actually, like, a month ago, if you slash when he's blowing up and you're, like, waiting for him, if you slash during that, it actually doesn't lose a frame. So if you slash before that and then you walk over, for some reason it loses a frame. And I actually don't know if that's 100% true because on my practice hack, like, lags randomly, so it's possible that that's due to the practice hack, but almost certainly you actually lose a frame by not slashing during that cutscene, which is very weird. I don't know why. And I'm guessing it has something to do with the fact that the boss is exploding, like, makes the lag consistent. Like, it caps out the lag, so it can't lag more, which makes very little sense to me. It is a free frame, so. So this run's actually better than I thought it was, which I'm surprised by, because I lost probably a minute, so I'm actually very surprised. But I'll take it. Like, that's a good thing. So this G-Tower is like absolutely the best dungeon. It's probably actually one of the best parts of all speedrunning. It's a culmination of everything you've done so far, and they throw it all in one dungeon. And then, so every room in G-Tower, I was saying how there's one like important room per dungeon. G-Tower, like every single screen is important. And it's pretty much like the culmination of the whole game. There's nothing unique about it, and that's what makes it unique. The first 3 minutes is like the most mechanically intensive part of this game, by far, which is very cool. It's very fun to watch if it's done well. That screen is very, very tight. There's a firebar skip you can do here. It's RNG based. Nope, I didn't get it. It saves a second, which isn't that big of a deal. So losing that heart, it's bad. It's not that bad. It's like 10 frames loss, which is somewhat trivial.
So coming up, we've got the first of the refights. Part of Ganon's Tower is that you refight all 3 Light World dungeon bosses, again with a little bit of a change, a small change. Coming up, we have Armos on Ice.
Yeah, oddly enough, I'm much better at Ice Armos than actual Armos. So the only reason you'd want beams is to beam this switch. It's literally like a 5 to 10 frame save, which is not that big of a deal. Nice. Nice. That's really good.
Very nice. These 2 mimic rooms back to back are 2 of the most technical, I think, rooms. 2 hardest to execute rooms in the game, aren't they?
Yeah, I do really streamlined strats for them. So my strats for them are really fast and pretty consistent. I would say like 80 to 90% consistent, which is really good because I'm doing them as fast as or faster than everyone else. There's 4 RNGs for that, and I got the hardest one, so loses like a second.
Now we enter the gauntlet. This is, I think, 4, maybe 5 rooms in a row, where the goal is you have to kill every enemy in the room before you can leave the room. And I think it's one of the cooler sections in the game, just because it puts your general gameplay to the test, as well as your reaction to the different RNGs that can come up.
That was a pretty good gauntlet.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And up next, we have our second refight of Ganon's Tower. Lamolus with a thing in the corner that shoots balls at you.
That's really good.
Nice one cycle.
And what a difference it made.
Dash out. If you dash in the last, right when the last thing explodes, if you dash, you'll dash. It's a perfect dash out. Got a heart, which is nice. So 11 hearts is like really, really good.
I don't get it.
I lost the run here actually about 4 days ago. It's my best run ever, and I lost it to that last torch, which is like the dumbest thing you can do. So I'm pretty salty about that, but hey, better than this run. I'm plus a minute on my PB, which is actually pretty good. Because I probably lost a minute on this run. Oh, okay. So I'm skipping the magic here, which means Ganon's like you can only miss 2 spins or 1 spin with a good Ganon fight. So
our third refight, Moldorm in a different shaped room,
which is actually a lot easier. That was a perfect shot, actually. That's the fastest you can get, and it's like a frame faster. But
I've never seen that hook shot on the side of the chest. That was pretty cool.
Well, that's the best I've ever done it. So.
All in all, I think it was a pretty solid Ganon's Tower, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, no, it's good. bad.
Thought you had it.
Okay, so that doesn't change too much. I can still reach my goal with reasonable RNG. Unfortunately, that could have been a very good games tower. The map, Aghanim, and then very small errors here and there. I had to like 10 or 12 seconds, but it's all right.
So the Ganon fight is a pretty amazing fight, in my opinion. There's four different phases, I guess. The first one, he spins his trident and throws it at you. And the second one, he summons his fire bats. And it's 12 hits with the sword, with spins counting as 2 to advance to the next phase. So you got a 1 cycle on the first phase, going for a 1 cycle with 12 hits here in the fire bat phase. Pretty sure he got it there. And then now we enter the teleport phase, which is a random how many times he teleports here can cost you a bunch of time.
Each warp is 2 seconds, so I lost 8 seconds already.
Yeah, this is pretty terrible.
It looks like 124 is almost dead.
So,
I have to basically get every warp here. Wow, it's just not good. It's not happening.
Whoa.
That's really good, actually.
Okay, that was phase 3. This is phase 4, the final phase. Nice torch glitch. So if you light the left torch before the right torch goes out, the right torch actually never goes out. So for the rest of the fight, you only have to light the left torch to be able to hit him.
Oh fuck.
This is. I'm gonna shut up.
If I miss one of these spins, it runs over.
And that's it. Get ready on time as soon as he walks in the door here. Okay. It's coming up.
Time.
The final time was a 1:25:02.
That's still a pretty good run.
That's a
3 seconds.
I missed a spin. I missed a spin right at the end, which actually would have done it, and I was really upset by that. But
3 seconds
that's
overestimate.
Well, over.
I lost
the
like
goal.
a minute
Over the
because
goal.
it was like a really good
True.
run, where it was good. A lot of the dashes went well, which is like the harder part. I'm making a lot of errors for like arbitrary reasons, so that's not that big of a deal. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'd like to shout everybody out who plays this game, even the randomizer community. Likes to give a lot of flack to the randomizer community, but they're still playing the game, so I don't see the problem with it, even if it's a ROM hack. And then also shouts to everybody in the Pacific Northwest. We're the best speedrunning region in the world. Thank you.
Thanks for the round, WQ.
Alright, that was WQ with A Link to the Past. Coming up next, we have Kuroshi Tarnicki doing a Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 80% race. And taking over for the mic from me will be Hey, it's Bentley. This has been Ryven, and maybe you'll see me later. Hear this beautiful, beautiful voice again.